It is a very snowy, gross, cold Sunday, so I am curled up with a mug of hot chocolate, and my goal is to finish Sense and Sensibility. I have not given you guys a reading update. I am almost done. I have just under 100 pages left of this. I have been reading a lot before bed, and honestly, I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. I was very nervous to read a Jane Austen book because, as I mentioned before, classic novels can be very intimidating and there's so many people that love them. Again, I'm not sure that I would say I love this book, but I am really enjoying it. I just feel betrayed by Willoughby, which if you've read this book, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and Edward as well. It's like, these men are not trustworthy, which I was not expecting for a Victorian era classic novel. Everything seems like it's going so well for Eleanor and Marian, the two sisters, and as the novel progresses, it's like everything that they thought they were promised is just taken away from them in the worst ways, and Lucy is so annoying. I do not like her at all. So I'm actually very much invested in this. I don't like that it is so slow and there's so many details about literally just sitting in people's living rooms. I don't think I would have liked living in this time because all they do is like visit each other from house to house. And as an introvert, I don't think I would enjoy that. And I'm very similar to both Eleanor and Marian in different ways. There are different ways that they click with me, that I agree with them. Like at first, I thought that I was Marian and I really enjoyed her. And then she gets kind of dramatic and I don't know how I feel about her. And then Eleanor kind of steps up and I was like, maybe I am more like Eleanor as an older sister taking care of everybody. I don't know. But let's finish this. I'm so excited to see how it wraps up, and it kind of feels like both these women from the beginning are supposed to get married, and then I only have 100 pages left and they both don't have any prospects, so I'm like, are they gonna end up married or is the novel just gonna end? But let's find out. I did it, you guys. I finished Sense and Sensibility on Saturday, and today is now Tuesday. I wanted to let this book settle before filming and talking about my review and my reaction to everything. I will say I'm not the biggest Regency era girl. Like, I've never really been fully intrigued by Jane Austen. I've been interested because obviously she's a classical writer and her novels are hugely popular and they're classics. And so I've always wanted to read them, but I've never been like excited to read them, I guess you could say. But I am glad that I did read this. I don't know, I just don't like the culture, I guess, of that time frame, and I'm very thankful that I didn't live in it because I think I would have been bored out of my mind. All that to say, I would probably give this 3 stars because the plot is very slow. There's not a lot going on and it seems to be just visiting each other from house to house to house to house. It seems like everybody in this book is fueled by greed except the main characters, because everyone is just obsessed about marrying into money or marrying for money. And even the book starts with their brother not wanting to give them money, and so he basically breaks his promise to his deceased father and doesn't help his sisters at all. And they end up moving from the house that him and his wife live in, and so they take over the house, and the Dashwood sisters and their mother have to leave the house that they have always lived in. And so they live in this little cottage, and they live, I believe, with some cousins. Like, it's their cousin who's invited them to live in the cottage. And as they live there, Marian meets this boy named Willoughby, and she is falling in love with him. He's falling in love with her. Eleanor, the older sister, is heartbroken because she is in love with Edward, and Edward is no longer with them because he's back at their old house. So she's basically pining for Edward. Marianne is falling in love, And then the plot kind of takes a twist because Willoughby has to leave and the girls end up going to where he is with a family friend, I believe, or a cousin. I don't really know the whole family tree dynamic, but they go with this woman to her house for the winter, basically, and they're in London, I think. Obviously the details are a little fuzzy for me, but they are in London with her, and as they are getting to the house and settling in, Marion sends a letter for Willoughby to come and see her and lets him know that she's there, and he doesn't respond. And then he comes when they're not home and basically leaves a card saying that he was there. So they know that he's come to visit, but they still haven't seen him. Well, I was on the edge of my seat at that part because I wanted to know what was going to happen. I was fully convinced that that was going to be the love story. And then she goes to this ball and he basically gives her the cold shoulder. And I won't continue on because I don't want to spoil it, but it did not work out the way that I thought it would. And then the plot does pick up a little bit more with that happening. And then Eleanor finds out that Edward might be engaged to someone else. And so there is all this stuff going on in the background of this novel. Again, everybody is fueled by greed, let me tell you, and it's all about making as much money as you possibly can. And there's some characters that are just so frustrating, and everything is about gossip and money, basically. The end of this book, basically, I would say I was 50% satisfied, 50% not, because I did like the way that things ended up for the older sister. I liked how everything came together and how her story finishes out. But the younger sister, I did not like, because even though I saw it coming, I just wanted better for her. And it is a happy ending. Overall, it's a very happy ending. But to me, and that time, I'm like, yes, it makes sense for the time, but I just wish that she got a better ending. So honestly, justice for Marion, because I think she deserved better, even though it's still a happy ending. I just don't believe that that's what she deserved. I think she deserved better. Like I said, 3 stars, mostly because I just wasn't as hooked as I wanted to be, but the language is beautiful, and I did annotate some quotes from this book. And I would say I would read another Jane Austen, but I'm not rushing to read another one. I have Emma by her as well, and I do want to read it eventually, but I think I'm going to take a break from classics. I did it. I read my first Jane Austen novel, so I can check that off the list. Eventually, I do want to read Emma, and I have to read Pride and Prejudice. Like, you just have to do that. So I will be doing that at some point. I don't own that book, so I'll have to get a copy first and then read it potentially in the future. We'll see when I end up coming across that. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you are a diehard Jane Austen fan, then I'm sorry for my review, because it was not a glowing review and I wasn't as invested as I know a lot of people get. So that it's just me. It's just what I like, I guess. I just need more in in my novels. But thank you guys anyway for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.